So let's talk about a wild injustice that I could not believe when I heard it. I first heard it watching Philip DeFranco, and I had to dig more into it because this happened around the times of the Tyrese Nichols death, Keenan Anderson, like back in that time, which we covered on the podcast. And this is a lesser known case of police brutality, at least at that time. Like, I didn't see it in headlines at all. Maybe I just missed it. But now it's blown. I've seen it more online, okay? And even when searching for it, I really only see Philip DeFranco, a big content creator, who has covered it. That's it. Like, nothing else. I've seen a few videos from news websites, and then I pulled up articles. But this happened to two men, okay, in Rankin County, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And their names are Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker. So
Leroy Jenkins.
I'm not sure what that reference is.
No, I know what it is. Yeah, it was like one of the first gaming memes ever for a World of Warcraft clan that was like really big, and you guys all gather before you go in the dungeon to fight this boss, and this guy was just like, Leroy Jenkins, and ran in there and got everybody killed. All 40 people.
So this is a $40 million lawsuit against the sheriff's department in Rankin County.
Jeez.
And this is a civil rights issue, okay? So, allegedly, what happened is these two men, Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker, were at their home in Braxton, Rankin County, Mississippi, okay? And police came to the house, turned off their body cameras, okay? Kicked in the door, no warrant, and handcuffed these men, tased them, kicked them and punched them, beat them, waterboarded them with milk, alcohol, like rubbing alcohol, any liquid they could find, waterboarded them, then made Michael and Eddie strip their clothes off and shower together, and then used sex toys on them, all while calling them racial slurs. And then shot Michael Jenkins in the mouth, blowing his tongue off, and miraculously he survived.
We just talked about this body cam footage the other night where I think you were saying like,
This is insane.
Well, all the cops have body cam footage now, and my take is, I don't care, dude. It's too easy to turn it off, cover it, whatever. But this is wild.
It's
What's
against
the point?
6 deputies, okay?
So there were six there?
6. Raiding this home and abusing these men.
Oh my
violating
God.
them.
How? How are not 1 in 6 people acceptable humans?
Of course it's in Mississippi, right?
Oh my God. 6. I could maybe understand 1 or 2 because they're dirty cops and they're trying to get information or they're doing things the wrong way. 6.
It's crazy.
What is the point of the sex toys?
So apparently there's some kind of allegations that this all had to do with these black men dating a white woman.
Oh my God.
So my theory is that they're part of the KKK. This is a corrupt sheriff's department that is somehow a part of some kind of racist group. KKK, Nazis, I don't know. They're all involved. In Mississippi, okay, Mississippi is still known for its segregation, okay? It's still largely segregated, even if it's not outward, like signs on doors.
They probably have the sundown laws, literally. Like, not joking. probably have the sundown laws that they chose not to abolish. They just chose not to follow, because if they ever needed to fall back on it, like...
Yes, so there are a lot of states who never officially abolished their sundown laws. They're just...
That's a slap in the
They're
face.
still illegal federally, though. So they can't carry them out, but they're still not abolished, which is crazy.
That's a slap in the face.
It absolutely is.
How can you leave that on your legal books? How? And live with yourself every day.
It's just horrific and so sad. But this is, so Michael Corey Jenkins was 32. Eddie T. Parker was 35. And this all happened...
Were they high? Like, okay.
Huh, what do you mean? Who? The cops?
The cops, because, like, you have to have your bullets accounted for. You have to have all the time that doesn't show on your vest cam accounted for. How in the world did they think they were going to get away with this? Like, what is going on?
So they claim they were raiding it for drugs and found nothing. They found nothing. But then they said they were, I guess, trying to interrogate them by torturing them and waterboarding them and assaulting them sexually.
You know how many times I've said this on stream? If you have a cop come to your door, do not answer it.
Don't open
Ever.
it at all.
If you absolutely need to,
talk to him through a Ring doorbell or through a peephole. Do not open it.
Just through your door. Do not unlock your main door. Do not. We see time and time and time again where when you open that door, the cop immediately puts their foot in front of the door so you can't close it. If you tell them, look, I don't want to talk anymore, I'm going to close my door. We've seen where people have lightly, barely tapped the officer's foot, and they take that as a cue to rip them out as assault on a police officer. It is better to keep your door locked. If they are supposed to be there, they will have a warrant, and they can slide it under the door. They can slide anything they need under the door.
Yeah.
Or read it aloud to you, take a picture. Like,
yeah.
There's a million different things that you can do where you don't need to put yourself in jeopardy. This is scary. This is scary crap here.
Yeah. So, thank God he didn't die, but he's gonna suffer losing his tongue, for the rest of his life, Jenkins. But one of the police officers tried to file false criminal charges against Jenkins, claiming he pointed a gun at him first, and that's why he stuck a gun inside of his mouth and shot him. Tell me, how can someone point a gun at you and you shoot them in self-defense by sticking a gun in their mouth and shooting them? Makes no sense, obviously. And everything else that happened, clearly that's not what happened. But what's crazy is I guess they weren't fully able to commit the essay against Jenkins because he defecated on himself. And the cops, the sheriffs, said it was in a very juvenile and bizarre manner while they laughed and then threw eggs at them and then forced them to strip and shower together. So
This sounds like not real.
I know. It sounds unbelievable. So they deactivated their body cameras, obviously, stole surveillance computer equipment from the home, and then turned their cameras back on when they left the scene in an attempt to, it says, do their dirt and commit their torts and crime, according to Shabazz, whoever. I think that is someone with there's a civil rights, like, what are they called? Like, organization that is helping spearhead this. Civil Rights Division has launched a federal investigation against the sheriff's office.
If there wasn't receipts for this, I would hear this and be like, oh my God, what a great fiction. You know what I mean? Because this is so outside of the norm. All these officers are literal sociopaths. They are no better than the serial murderers out there in the world. That's how I see these men, what they did. This is so dangerous and so scary that these aren't just men or people that are able to do this, but they are supposed to be our law enforcement. They are supposed to be our public servants. They are supposed to be a higher status than a normal police office by being sheriffs. And they are committing all of the worst crimes in the book minus murder.
Yeah.
So,
well, they tried to commit murder. It didn't work.
Sexual assault, lying, shooting a dude, racism.
So apparently they were accused of having drugs, and they were saying stuff about them dating white women. So when you combine all these things together,
This
I
is
think
some KKK stuff. That's what it feels like. You're
absolutely.
right.
And you know what? When I lived in Tennessee as a young child, I have a half black brother, and we were attacked by the KKK because he dated one of the Klan members' friends' daughters, and she was white. And they put stuff in our gas tank. They surrounded our house at one point and tried to coax him out to hurt him. Like, we were subject to harassment and attacks for literally like a month straight. And we barricaded our doors, we called the cops, we had to have cops watch our house. It was really scary. Yeah. Like, very scary. And I just feel terrible for them. The essay in particular, like, obviously it's sheer brutality, it's disgusting. But the added element of essay kind of, I think, gives validity to the dating white women thing.
I mean, for me, none of it makes sense. To me, it doesn't matter.
You don't see that connection at all?
No, I don't. I don't see any connection whatsoever. I feel like these guys are just a bunch of sociopaths. They're bullies. They are abusers of the law. They are social terrorists. They are racists. They deserve to be in prison for the rest of their lives. They deserve to be on a sex offenders list if they ever get out of prison. I mean, these people can't be in our society. These are supposed to be our public servants. These are supposed to be our sheriffs. These are supposed to be people that you can trust. And they are pursuing a KKK racist or white type agenda against black men that weren't doing anything wrong whatsoever. There was nothing illegal on their property. They were probably just normal citizens trying to create, income and food and
they're
housing.
Just your average
and,
people.
Yeah, your next door neighbor.
They weren't doing anything wrong.
And these guys went out of their way, these sociopaths went out of their way to attack them by not just simple attack on the street, but breaking into their house. They broke into their house at gunpoint, and
they literally kicked in the door.
Yeah, and sexually assaulted these men.
Well, they attempted to. So I watched an interview.
Attempt is it?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's right. Black and white.
No,
you
I agree. I
you
agree.
did.
Yeah. So Eddie Parker, I watched an interview, and he said he was just like chilling in his room, working on stuff. Like, it sounded like he was doing work, business, something. And he said he didn't even know the door got kicked in until all the commotion, and then he walked in, his friend was on the floor handcuffed, and they tased him and got him down, handcuffed him, and then it proceeded, and I guess there was beer, milk, they were waterboarded with all kinds of different liquids, anything they could find, he said. And it's just so sad. It's so sad to hear him talk about it. And here's a picture of Jenkins. He had to have his tongue surgically
earth?
removed from the damage, but, I mean, thank God he has his life.
So he doesn't have a tongue?
He doesn't have a tongue. They had to remove it. It wasn't salvageable.
Is there anything that you can do once you've had your tongue taken out? So
I don't think
you just can't talk for the rest of your life?
Unless they can figure out how to do a cadaver tongue. I don't know if that's possible yet.
Like a cow tongue?
But the issues like the nerve connections, I would assume.
Wouldn't that be cool to have a cow tongue?
But
talk about that oral.
This isn't the only issues the sheriff's department has had. Of course not. Like, for them to do something this extreme,
how could it?
You got to look back. That's why there's an investigation that's been done. They're looking into them. That's how this lawsuit came about. And
how much
course,
are they getting?
There's a history.
What'd they sue him for? How much?
I said it in the beginning. $400 million.
$400 million. Good.
None of them
$500 million.
But get this: none of the officers have been charged with anything.
No, you're lying.
None of the officers have been fired or put on suspension. There have been no repercussions for any of them.
Oh my God.
Nothing. They're still on the streets.
Serious?
They're still on the streets.
Oh my God.
And they have literally killed people, according to the results from the investigation.
Going on?
There's the 2019
How is the
shooting
FBI
death
not
of
there?
Pierre Woods. There is an FBI investigation going on. They are investigating it.
I don't care. This is a situation where if these claims are even being claimed, you need to be suspended and sent home pending an investigation because you cannot be risked being on the streets.
That's what they normally do. They normally send them home if it's something super egregious.
These guys are terrorists.
They are terrorists. I think they are the people you see at Proud Boy protests.
Absolutely.
They are those people.
Does it show their pictures? I want to post their pictures. These disgusting freaks.
I think this might have something to do with them here. But it says, yes, the FBI is conducting an investigation in a fair, thorough, and impartial manner. In a statement that was put out, this is an ongoing investigation. We are not going to comment further.
Watch, they're going to end up being pedos too. Like, because that wouldn't shock me at all in this. They're literally terrorists.
So the sheriff said
organized crime,
fully cooperating with that ongoing investigation and will continue to do so. Rest assured, if any deputy or suspect involved in this incident is found to have broken the law, he will be held accountable in accordance with the law. Suspect? Deputy or suspect. So are they trying to claim one of them did something? One of the people the victims? Like what? I don't know. I don't like that statement. So, and it was confirmed that they did force their way in and break down the door with no warrant. And we're just kind of pending the investigation, pending the lawsuit, and see where it goes. This is horrible. So Parker said he and Jenkins did nothing wrong. They didn't resist. They complied the entire time.
That doesn't even matter. They were illegally in their home.
I know. They should have resisted. They should have.
They were illegally in their home. No, that's not what I'm saying. They shouldn't have, because there was nothing that they could have done to stop this.
You're right.
It's obvious. So they probably did the best thing, the safest thing for them.
You're right.
By not doing that, because let's be real, if these sheriffs took it this far and it's 6 officers, they're a hair split away from being ended where they would have been able to lie about the situation.
I mean, one of them was almost ended.
Yeah.
He was meant to be dead.
So they probably did the right thing. But I am blown away that these cops are still currently in the police department serving. Like, that makes me so angry that we have active terrorists out on our streets right now in the U.S.
Oh, they are 100% domestic terrorists. And I I think that they should be classified as that. And I
Yeah.
want to know what
Sex
organization
offenders.
they are a part of, because I guarantee you they're a part of something.
Yep.
He said he's traumatized. He can't sleep. Every little noise makes me look around. I'm wondering if they're coming back. I can't even think. All I know is the pain. All I know is I'm glad to be alive. Think about being the victim and knowing that these officers are on the streets and could do something to you because you're a part of this lawsuit.
When did this happen? Do you know?
It happened back with the Tyree Nichols thing. Like, it was, it says the news comes after the United Nations human rights experts accused U.S. law enforcement of violating international law, called out police culture over Tyree Nichols and Keenan Anderson.
Oh my
So it
gosh,
says
dude.
February 1st. I'm trying to look. I've had a hard time finding an exact date for when this happened. Let's see if we can...
This is just wild. This is wild. I'm blown away. This is awful. Imagine being a person of color and living in that. Let me pull that up. Is Mississippi one of the do not travel states?
Yes.
It was? Okay.
It's not as dark as Florida, but it's the next one.
Okay.
That's the second to worst.
So yeah, it's still dangerous. They're still suggesting that you don't live or fly there being a person of color or LGBT or specifically trans, essentially a minority. If you're not a if you're a minority, stay away from these states at all costs right now, because this is how extreme it's getting. These are the type of racial terrorists that are out there, and nobody deserves this kind of treatment. Nobody does. If you're a U.S. citizen, if you're not a U.S. citizen, if you're a citizen of the world, nobody deserves to be treated like this. This is just abuse that's completely unneeded and unnecessary, and these people need to be in Cuba the rest of their lives as terrorists.
Guantanamo Bay.
Yes, absolutely.
Nothing is loading on my computer. So
That's just wild.
Okay, January 24th is when it happened. So the beginning of this year.
Okay. I'm just blown away that they're still out. That's...
You know, this is one of the most egregious, just incredible things I've ever heard. Like, in today's society. This is something I would expect to hear from pre-civil rights. Back when sundown laws were a real thing, when, lynching was happening. This is the kind of stuff that happened. So I just can't stomach it. Like, it just hurt so bad reading it. Because these are officers. They are supposed to be unbiased. They're supposed to just be public servants. And we already have such an issue with police brutality. To hear something like this, I'm going to be honest, I'm not surprised to hear it's coming out of Mississippi.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that.
Unfortunately, yeah. I just wish that
there's good people in Mississippi, but there's also still a lot of racial issues down there.
Absolutely. And it's like I said, it's just unfortunate because nobody in the world, anywhere, should have to deal with some kind of treatment like this, you know. It's just ridiculous. I'm shocked. I'm blown away. I want to look into it more, and we need to follow up on it.
We will follow up on this.
Yeah.
There will be more information to come out as the stuff comes out about the investigation. The FBI is looking into it, which I'm really happy about. I don't see how they could not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they better be charged.
Yeah.
They better be. Yeah. I cannot believe I didn't hear about this until recently because Philip DeFranco covered it. I feel like this hasn't been pushed out to the spotlight enough.
I agree.
This should be headline super important.
It's got hidden in Mississippi where people are like,
yeah, people don't care about Mississippi, yeah.
Ugh.
So let us know what you think about it.
Help us make some noise with this. Share this story.
Absolutely.
Get it out there. Okay.
Share it. If you have any more information about it, please send it my way, our way. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Condolences to their families, condolences to them.
Mm-hmm.
Had to
Yep.
be so traumatic.
I hope those cops just get what they're
And I hope they get the justice they deserve.
So, karma will come around. I am a believer wholeheartedly in karma. I am terrified of karma. When you do something bad that takes advantage of another person, it will come around and bite you. So I do not think these guys should have jobs. I do not think these guys should be out in public.
They shouldn't have freedom.
That they should be treated as terrorists. And I would literally laugh. I would laugh until I was crying on the ground if they were sent to Guantanamo Bay, just because disgusting, horrible people that are a bad representation of the human race, that are a bad representation of men, don't have any place in this society anywhere.
No.
Period.
They do not. They should not be on the streets, let alone in a position of authority over other people.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah.